Have you ever been so fed up with your spouse, you just think to yourself, should I just tell him I want a divorce because you just want to be done? But hold up before you do that. What if I told you the number one mistake women make is telling their spouse way too soon? Because the second you tell your spouse that you want a divorce, they're going to start moving money, they're going to start telling lies, and they're going to make life at home miserable. I'm Latrice Knighton, a North Carolina divorce attorney, and for the past 15 years, I've seen the situation play out over and over again. So let me ask you this. Do you want to learn how to avoid losing money, stop listening to lies, and stop living with someone who no longer brings you peace? If so, this video is for you, because in this video, I'm going to tell you 3 things you need to do before you ever file or tell your husband you want a divorce. First, you need to understand your finances. Second, you need to learn the law. And third, you need to make a plan to leave. Step number 1, understanding your finances. A lot of the women I talk to ask themselves this question: can I afford to leave? But in the inside, they're really already thinking, I can't afford to leave. But what if I told you the number one mistake women make is not understanding their finances? Here's the things you need to be doing today in order to decide if you're able to move forward. Number 1, reviewing your bank records. Number 2, organizing and collecting all your financial documents. And number 3, highlighting the important numbers. I once had a client come into the office because her husband unexpectedly just told her that he wanted a divorce, but she had no clue how much money they had, so she came in a panic, worrying about how bills were going to get paid. Have you ever been in a situation where financially something unexpected happened that you had wished you would have known earlier? I know, I have. For me, I would have preferred knowing the hot water heater went out before I got in the shower. Sometimes you can't avoid unexpected things, but I always say, try to avoid the unexpected by preparing for the unexpected. In divorce, many times your spouse doesn't want you to know about finances because knowing about finances gives you a leg up. But when you know about the financial picture, you create certainty for yourself. Clarity about money creates power in divorce. Step number 2, learn your rights. A lot of people meet with me and ask me this question: what are my rights? But before I can even answer the question, they're telling me what their rights are from what they read on the internet. Here's the truth. The internet and a lot of these Facebook groups have the law wrong. I once had a client come into my office and assume she wouldn't get support because she made more money. And she also felt bad asking for support. Have you ever felt bad asking for what you want? I know I have, and I understand, because we don't want to hurt or disappoint anyone, especially your spouse, because they're probably telling you what they can't afford and what they need. But here's the deal. You need to just lean into the law, because the law is what will help you get what you need and determine what's fair. The law decides what's fair. Your spouse doesn't. Step number 3, make a plan. Some people wonder, if I make a plan, does that mean I want a divorce? And then all of a sudden they freeze up and they're like, whoa, I'm not even 100% certain that I want a divorce. But what if I told you by creating a plan, you actually figure out if you want a divorce or you want to stay in your marriage, because it gives you confidence and clarity. I once was working with a very successful woman. She made plans for teams every single day. But when it came to this divorce, she refused to take any action because she was overwhelmed and scared. How many of us have been afraid before and didn't take any action? So in her case, she also knew that her husband didn't want her to take any action because he wanted her to stay in the marriage. She didn't know what to do. So what did she do? She actually made the plan and was able to determine for herself what the best next step was about staying together or getting a divorce. And that can be the same thing that happens for you. Preparation turns fear into confidence. I know this is a lot to think about because you haven't even decided if you want a divorce, but I'm letting you know right now, these steps will help you get your best divorce outcome and understand the fear that comes up when you're thinking about divorce. So that's why I have the Divorce Without Fear webinar series, which is linked below. It's a free webinar series to talk you through initial steps. And I also offer free consultations so you can understand what your specific rights in your specific situation would be. You are a woman of valor. No situation, no court, no fear is going to hold you back from getting the life that you want and leaving stronger.